Next, we're going to take a look at reflections. If you take the opposite of your function, I'm going to blow this up a little bit so we can take a look at it. If I put the opposite of my function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect that over the x-axis. So what happens is I take my function in every y value, I'm going to flip it over the x-axis because that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the opposite of my function. However, if I take the opposite of my x, my independent variable, I'm going to flip it over the y-axis. So I'm going to take every x value, keep the same y value, but put it on the opposite side of your y-axis. Now, if we take a look at a couple examples here, now we're just going to look at it backwards. That is, I'm going to give you what we call the child function, the transformation. You're going to write down that equation. So first off, my parent function is y equals f of x. It's just my square root function. So I got my square root function here. So what changed from the first function to the second function? Well, to me, it looks like it went up 1. So I'm just going to say, oh, g of x then is the square root of x plus 1. Now, you can check that on decimals pretty quickly here because I'll just make a new graph here. Sorry. And I'm going to go y equals, and I'll go the square root of x. There's my square root. Kind of lost it for a second. There's my square root. Now, I think my next one is going to be y equals, or maybe I'll say I'll say g of x because that's what they actually had. G of x and I'm going to say that's equal to the square root of x. And then I'll go on the outside, I'll say plus 1. And that's pretty much what a graph looks like, doesn't it? I think I'm going to change my y to f of x here for my future ones. So I'm going to go f of x. There we have it. Now, if we look at example 6, what's going on? Well, first off, notice I'm moving it to the right 1. I'm going from 0, I'm moving to the right 1. So that'll be x minus 1. So it'll be, in this one, I'll say g of x equals to the square root of x minus 1. Also notice I'm flipping it over the x-axis, so I'll put a negative in front of there. So I'm thinking it's the opposite of x plus 1. I said minus 1. It's x minus a negative 1. Sorry about that. So x plus 1. So now, let's type that in and see if we did it correctly also. So I've got my parent function. I'm just going to do my second line, and I'm going to say g of x equals to, I'm going to go the opposite of the square root of x plus 1. And there's my graph. And that's what it looks like. It looks pretty good.